I need to stop listening to myself just for 1 second. Like, I do not have all the answers. I couldn't trust my thinking because my thinking had gotten me to where I was.
I am in such denial that I can't see it. I was terrified. Like, I had to change one thing. Everything.
It's Ashley.
And Cindy.
And Cindy, and this is Life for Dummies.
That's us. We're real dumb. I had to first learn how to not use. That was the solution for a long time, just not using.
Mm-hmm.
And that was hard because that's what I had trained myself to do, and that's what that was the solution. So having to find some like-minded people that could help me live the life I wanted to live was really a key element for me. Like, I couldn't keep going to the bar to people who were doing what I was trying not to do.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so like I had to change one thing. Everything.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah. I just remember when someone told me, well, if you want something different, you have to do something different.
Yeah.
And I hadn't done anything different in so long that was really like an overwhelming thought and feeling, and I was terrified.
Mm-hmm. I know, like for me, things didn't seem like they were that bad. And I know I keep talking about denial. Maybe I'm just going to keep talking about denial until it's out of my system. But, like, I was in so much denial that when I finally kind of started getting my life together and put down, like, my form of addiction, because let's be real about that. Like, everybody has a different form of addiction. I mean, maybe they don't. In my experience, I see that there's a lot of forms of addiction out there. And it can be, I'm addicted to work. And work gets in the way of my family life or my personal life or my health. I'm addicted to gaming, social media, my phone. I can't go a week without my phone, much less even like a day, right? Or even like 10 minutes. Most people are always on their phone. I'm addicted to food, gambling, sex. Like, there's so many different forms of addiction. And, anyway, I guess that was my point, that, whatever the form, mine was alcohol. And when I first got clean, I had to realize that I was in so much denial because I was able to have a life, more or less, right? I wasn't in prison. I wasn't in a jail or insane asylum. I was getting up. I was going to work. I was pretty qualified on a job description. But my life was like total chaos inside. And there were a lot of parts where it was total chaos outside. I was just in complete denial over it. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I was in lots of denial too. And like you said, there are so many types of addictions. Like, anything that provides you the instant gratification that you're seeking that makes you feel better and gets you outside of yourself, that is an addiction. I'm sorry, it just is. Shopping, gambling, sex, you said it, all of them. And I have to look at the root cause of that and why do I need to have instant gratification and feel better immediately and participate in these behaviors that are literally making my life unmanageable and unlivable to the point where I don't want to be alive anymore. It's wreaking havoc on myself, everyone around me that loves me, And I am in such denial that I can't see it. Because sometimes you're so far into the picture, you can't see the frame, if that makes sense.
I love that. Especially with all these pictures we got on social media, you know? Like, one of the reasons why I love that we're doing this is that suicide is very prevalent in our society today, and it's been on the rise, especially among young people. Now, that's sad.
It's very sad that that seems like the solution to your problem. I should just kill myself because then all of this chaos that I'm living in, whether it's real chaos or just internal, which can be more harmful, I'm convinced,
Mm-hmm.
it will make it all go away.
And what's so great is that both of us have experience with it.
Yes.
You know, like, I was killing myself through my acting out on obsession and compulsion, right? Like, I was obsessing over how fun it was going to be tonight when I went out. And I would compulsively act to go out. And then the cycle continued. And it continued for so long that it progressed and progressively got worse. And at the end of it, I was dying physically. You know, I'd look at myself in the mirror and see a ghost. Yellowed out eyes, skin. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror, really. But that was my form of killing myself. When I was younger, I had another one too. You know, I couldn't stop thinking about trying to kill myself for an entire year. It was really, really hard. I was in the abyss of despair and depression. Locked myself in a bedroom. Wouldn't leave. That's when I failed out of college and became homeless for the first time. But anyway, so yeah, we have experience with it, but there's a solution. Like, that could be the problem, but the solution doesn't have to be actually dying.
Right. So I have learned that the strongest and most courageous thing that I can ever do is open my mouth and ask for help. But I had been conditioned, and I had this internal dialogue that I talk about that told me that asking for help made me weak.
Mm.
And I was afraid to admit all of these things out loud because it would make me a weak person. And this has nothing to do with about being weak or strong or willpower. This has to do with asking for help. And the thing is there's a lot of help available. But I think as a society, we're conditioned to think that help is for the weak. Help is, uh, you know, you just don't do that.
Yeah. I called the helpline. Who knew there was such a thing?
There is.
Yeah, so when it was finally like said and done, I had like one grandmother's friend who I knew of who had been in some kind of help, right? Um, Recovery. And when I called her, she said, I've been waiting for you to call me for 10 years. Right. Because by that time, there just was no one else in my life, family, friends. I had moved to Florida and for a job, and I did, okay. I didn't know anyone, and I was still dying from the disease of addiction. Anyway, and so, yeah, asking for help saved my life.
So I just encourage you, if you are struggling with something, there are other people in this world that are struggling with the same exact thing you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fact. The internet is amazing because all this help is available to us all through your phone or computer, you're behind a screen, and you don't even have to see anyone at first.
Mhm.
But it's just taking that first step and asking for help. That admission that I don't have it all together. I don't have all the answers. And that's completely okay. Because no one expects you to have all the answers and know how to do everything.
They don't, except you.
Yeah, I am my own worst enemy.
Right. Cindy and I actually spend most of our time in the real world, and we help, because helping people keeps our, what is it?
We can only keep what we have by giving it away.
There it is. Yeah. So like helping people keeps us, permanently in a state of serenity and peace and all of the gifts that have been received from applying this new way of life. The two things, changing our perspective and changing our life so that we can have all these great things that we have today. But helping others is how we keep it. So we do that actually in the real world, like in our local communities, with just, oh my gosh, it's been hundreds for me, probably thousands for you, of individuals that we have helped here. But we were like, the internet is so big, and there's so many people listening who are just like us. That's why we started this, because we wanted to offer our help to you.
Yeah, and what a beautiful gift to be able to share with somebody the gift of life. The gift of a beautiful life where I don't feel the need to escape on a daily basis. This gift that I am comfortable in my own skin. I am comfortable with the person I have become. I am comfortable and I love this life that I get to live today. It is truly a miracle and it is truly amazing. And I am so grateful that I gave myself a chance and that I didn't sell myself short.
Yeah. They say if nobody has told you today that they love you, I love you. And that's like real. And it's true. The year that I was in the abyss of despair, I was in college and I was like 20. And all I wanted to do was kill myself. And I actually obsessively thought about it every day for about a year. And the one thing that, and I'm not kidding you, I was an insomniac. I didn't come out during the day either. I stayed in my bedroom. And when I did come out, I'd watch like infomercials late at night. And I didn't have any money. I had like about $1.26 a week. And I would go to the grocery store and I would buy flour and chocolate chips. And I would make with that cookies. And then I would just eat cookies. It sounds so ridiculous, but this is not made up. This is not made up, okay? I can't make this up.
I have never heard this before. I'm going to just tell you that right now. I've never heard this story.
Like, I would go down to the local coffee shop and sometimes spend the dollar on a tea, and I would have to write a check. And so I would be right.
They take a check at the coffee shop?
Well, no, but they did for me. And when word got out to like a local Christian society or something about this girl, like a couple of them came to the coffee shop and sat down with me and said, "Are you okay? Like, how can we help you?" Oh my gosh, I was so far from being ready to accept any kind of help. By the end of that year, I was dating a gang member and he was on the run. So, anyway, where did I start with this story?
The despair and thinking about killing yourself every single day for a year.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even remember. Oh, I remember now. Okay, I remember. You guys, this is why we say we're like real dumb. Okay, I'm like literally telling you about the time I was trying to kill myself and then I can't even remember, okay? Anyway, so I started volunteering at this like Southern Baptist church. Yeah, I know. Like I wasn't a Southern Baptist, but somebody had been nice to me on campus and they were a Southern Baptist, and so it just goes to show you how far being nice can go. I started going to this church and they needed help with the like pre-K class who would the kids would all be in there while the parents would go to the church. And there was like this one little girl in that class who was so nice to me. She was like 4. Her name was Sydney. And I was just one of the aides, the helpers. Again, this was in college when I was 20, and I was basically insomniac, and I would just leave my bedroom during the day once a week to go to this Sunday class to help watch the kids. And do you know that every day, each week, outside of that Sunday, I would wake up and I would want to kill myself. And do you know that the only thing that stopped me was that I knew Sydney would want to see me that Sunday and like have me help her color? Like reaching out when people are in the grip of despair, even just like a smile can save a life.
Yeah, we never know whose life we're going to touch just by being kind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was at the grocery store yesterday and the cashier said to me, "You're always so happy and so nice." And I looked at her and I said, "Well, thank you." I said, "It is a choice."
Mm.
And it is a choice. To be happy is a choice. And I choose to be happy every single day because I know what it feels like to be in despair and to feel like everyone, including myself, would be better off if I just wasn't here anymore.
Yeah.
So to be able to wake up in the morning and choose on a daily basis to be a happy person is an amazing gift. But in order to do that, I have to remove all of the things that are making me unhappy. And I never understood that before.
Mm-hmm. Me neither.
So the things that were making me unhappy were addiction to drugs and alcohol, anorexia, cutting myself. All of these things were making me an unhappy person. So I had to remove them. And it wasn't like I could remove them slowly. It was like you have to rip off the band-aid and stop doing these things that are causing you harm.
Mm-hmm. And I needed help. Like I couldn't do it myself.
Me neither.
And that brings us back to insanity.
Making the same. What? No. That was insane right there.
Doing the same thing over and over again.
Expecting different results. That's insanity.
Yeah. And so, like, because I kept doing these self destructive behaviors, like, I couldn't just think my way out of it. I couldn't just hold my fingers into a fist and, fist my way through it. I couldn't just sit on my hands and not act and everything would, get better. I needed somebody else to show me what to do so that I would start to do differently. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. So, yeah, my thing was I would sit and think about how I could not do these things anymore, like you said. So I would sit and think and think and think. And when I would think about these things, I would feel all this immense guilt and shame. And then the guilt and shame would cause me to keep doing what I was doing. But I kept trying to think about it. Like I could think my way out of this behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot think my way out of any type of addiction, whether the addiction is going to the gym too much, or gambling, or eating, or whatever it is, or shopping. I can't think my
Sex.
way out of it. Yeah, exactly. I have to act my way into a new way of thinking.
Mm-hmm. And like, how did you know what to do? How did you to act your way?
I had to go seek out people that were suffering from the same thing that I was, the addiction, and I had to surround myself with people that were not acting out on these things, and I had to ask them how they did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed specific directions as to what to do, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me specific directions, and they said, don't use no matter what.
Yeah, like quite honestly, the people that Cindy and I help range from like multimillionaire doctors, lawyers to people who live under a bridge in Miami. Shout out to one of our good friends, right?
Hey.
Hey.
To housewives, to moms, to business owners. And this is a thing, like addiction does not discriminate.
Right, exactly. And the internet is like such an easy escape. I mean, I escape with watching movies. I'm obsessed with watching movies. I love watching movies. I let myself today, and I don't let it like impact my life negatively. But I understand how fun it is to enjoy entertainment, and it is a form of escape. Now, what I had to learn is that checking out, right? Let me just go have fun and check out for a while. Let me just scroll on this platform and check out for a while. Like, the internet is a place where we can kind of relieve the pain for a little bit. What it's not is a solution to the help we get IRL in real life when we really are struggling with human stuff.
Yeah, there is something very therapeutic about being able to hug another human being, tell them you love them, receive love in return, and want nothing but the best for each other just because. Just because we have, you know, things in common. We share feelings, we share certain, experiences. Being able to relate to someone on that kind of level, it's just so wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And, like, don't get me wrong, Cindy and I did this for a reason. Because the internet is a powerful tool. And there are so many people on it. All these social media platforms, which I think are awesome. I'm editing these videos. I'm learning so much about it. And they're fun, and uh, you really can be creative and impact a lot of people's lives. So don't negate what I'm saying as like, well, it's stupid that she and I are even doing this podcast. Because that's not really it. Like we are here to help you and support you with anything that comes your way that you need. It's why we're outputting this material for you. So just know that we are on the internet and here for you.
And truly, truly want to help, like
Mm-hmm.
Ashley just said. Like the intent here and the motive behind it is to let people know that there is relief from whatever ails you. and that there is a solution, but you have to just be aware that like denial is real and that the solution is not doing the same thing over and over again. That sometimes the solution comes from the most unlikely person.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes the message I need to hear, the messenger is not who I expected it to be.
Yeah, no, not at all. I'm just thinking about like when I lived and worked outside of the DC area. I was in Washington DC for quite some time actually, and so we're both like city girls. You New York City for you.
Yes.
Yeah, you spent a long
I
time.
spent 7 years in New York City.
And I was like 10 years with a 3-year stint away for a master's in the Washington D.C. area. But I remember like stumbling into one of these places where they offer help, right? Like another program, and going out to lunch with some lady, and she's like, "Hey, so why don't we just like write down what you did in the last like 48 hours?"
This sounds really fun.
It was like, okay, this is stupid, but it was like went to work, hungover, ate 2 hard-boiled eggs so I didn't throw up as I was driving to work. um, went out as soon as I got home, blacked out somewhere at like 2 a.m., like woke up at like 4:30 a.m. on the subway or the metro then. Like I'm like writing all this down. And then she's like, oh, okay. Yeah. So do you think that is, do you think those things or your life looks a little unmanageable? And I looked at the paper very seriously and I looked at her and I said, no. What is unmanageable about this? I still have my job. Like, after that, I just started going to online platforms and online, like meetings and things where people were talking about a new way of life, and I faded out, like I just went back to my old ways because, again, like online didn't really impact me the same way that what I have today in person does.
Yeah, like I just said, like being able to receive a hug from somebody and sitting in a room full of like-minded people where we're trying to all achieve the same thing, which is just live a good life and not act out on these addictions. There's magic in that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just the most amazing opportunity that I ever gave myself. And it wasn't like I had this bright idea to do this. Like
You're
I
real
had,
smart.
yeah, because I'm real smart sometimes. I'm actually really dumb sometimes, a lot of the time. And so my family threw me an intervention because they could not stand to watch me do these things to myself anymore, and they were afraid for my life, and rightfully they should be. So I needed a nudge from somebody. Um, I wasn't one of those people that was like, you know what, this is just really bad and I really shouldn't be doing these things. Like, I knew that internally that it was bad and I shouldn't be doing these things, but I was just so stuck in it and stuck in this fearful place. And I talk about that a lot, being stuck in fear.
Mm.
Being stuck in fear kept me there for a long time because what's it going to look like if I don't do this anymore? What would my life be like if I removed all of these obstacles, all these things that are making it so unmanageable? The fear of the unknown kept me stuck in the fear of what I did know for a very long time.
Wow, that's really powerful, Cindy. Thank you. Like, yeah, I guess it's a base fear, huh?
It is. I mean, I know that I like to call it my warm, comfy, shitty spot. I know exactly how I'm going to feel. I know exactly what I'm getting, and I can know exactly what to expect from it. If I stop doing all of these things, what's it going to look like? What's my life going to be like? And that is terrifying sometimes. But I will tell you what, like I read this thing the other day and it said, "What if I fall?" And then it says, "But what if you fly?"
Oh gosh, I love that. That's why like we're so encouraged that you guys are listening in and subscribing because we are you. Like, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, we are. Like when I first met Ashley, yeah, the woman that is sitting here next to me today is a shadow of her former self. She was this scared little girl in this woman's body, and she would like sit, and then she would get up and run out and not talk to anyone. Literally, she was so stuck in fear that she just couldn't even talk to anyone.
Yeah.
And now, like, look at her now.
And
It's
what's like
amazing.
so crazy is that there are so many businessmen and women like me. I was in business clothes. I was going to job. I was in corporate. You know, um, and it's just like what you were saying was just so powerful. I can't move past it. Like how what we are doing, we're used to, even though it's miserable. Like I am familiar with this misery. And so, like, I would much prefer to stay here than have to do something uncomfortable and not know, like, what's going to happen. Like, not know if I'm going to be safe, if I'm going to be secure, if I'm going to be taken care of. Um, I would much rather put up with the demons or the negative in my life than deal with trying to find a way through the muck and find a new way of life where I'm actually happy inside and out.
Yeah, so that's what I like to call getting comfortable being uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh, girl. Like,
Ashley loves that. She loves that. She
look at
loves when
my
I say
face right
that.
now.
Yeah. So, sometimes when I'm extremely uncomfortable, not sometimes, actually, most of the time, when I am extremely uncomfortable is when the biggest growth happens for me and when it's the biggest lesson and I learn the most. But I do have to get comfortable being uncomfortable in this new way of life because it is uncomfortable. And everything I'm doing feels very foreign. Everything I'm doing is completely opposite of what I had done for so long. So it is uncomfortable. But I'll tell you what, it is worth every ounce of uncomfortability, and I would do it 100 times over to be in the position that I am in now, where I wake up and I literally look around and I think I am the luckiest girl in the world.
Yeah, you are.
So are you.
Yeah, we are.
But I literally think that in the morning. I wake up and I'm like, I am so lucky.
Well, both of us would be dead.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's sad because, like, we're, young. We're not like, 15, but we're not like 60. So, I mean,
We
yeah.
have a lot of life left in us.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
dying from alcoholism at the age of 33 is young.
It's so young.
So, that's what I am saying.
Yeah, and there's no need for it. Like, it seems like, when you're doing it, it seems like you're having fun and it's a good time. And it seems like like I know I always thought, well, if I stop doing these things, I'm not going to have any fun ever again. Life is going to be so mundane and boring. Oh, why would I want to do that?
Yeah, FOMO.
And it's the furthest from the truth.
Yeah. You know, what I'm thinking of right now, and after the break, we can come back and maybe just talk about it, is what happens when we put down the drugs or our form of acting out, but we don't seek the solution and have a change.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
Hey, we're back.
Hi.
Hi.
What's up?
Yeah. So we were going to talk about being abstinent but not recovering.
Oh yeah, so like when you say abstinent, like what do you mean?
Well, I mean, like, stop doing the things that are causing you harm. So whether it's like overeating or doing drugs or drinking or starving yourself or whatever it is,
Hmm.
if you remove those behaviors but you don't put anything in their place, it's extremely painful and it's not a happy life.
Like why do you say that you can't recover if you stop and you're not doing it anymore? So,
Well, because like you're removing all these bad behaviors or things that are making your life unmanageable.
mhm.
But if you don't put any new behaviors in their place, then you're eventually life becomes so painful and so unbearable that you will return to the very things that brought you to your knees in the first place. So like,
Hmm.
we have to put in new behaviors and healthy behaviors in order to maintain this new life that we're trying to live.
Okay. I'm almost there.
You want me to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. So say, every single day at 6 o'clock, it's happy hour at your house, and that's when you start, you're drinking cocktails for the night.
Okay.
So if you remove that at 6 o'clock every night, what are you going to do instead?
Oh, I see.
So you can either sit on your hands, like you said, white knuckle it, push through it with pure willpower alone, which we all know doesn't last for very long.
Mhm.
Or you can find something else to do at 6 o'clock every day that is healthy and fun, and you can, replace that old bad behavior with a new good behavior that isn't harming yourself anymore.
Like going to the gym?
Yeah, you could go to the gym. You could, go to like in where I live, they have like a friendship center, and they like have places where they play cards or
Mm.
chess or dominoes. Like you could go there and make new friends with people that aren't drinking at night. You
Yeah,
know?
that's a good point. Like, what I had to do is try to figure out, like, okay, who is not doing the stuff that I was doing when I was acting out? Because if I kept, like, hanging out with people who are drinking, and they were still in my, like, friend circle, then I would just end up drinking again, too.
Right, because life without it, hanging out in a bar and not drinking, would be extremely painful, boring, and you'd feel like you were missing out.
Yeah, because, like, those type of people, and this is what I had to, like, learn is that they're not just one type of people. I know, like, grammatically that doesn't make sense, but like what I'm trying to say is that I thought that there was only like one type of person, and that the people what they did for fun was go out and get high. And like I honestly didn't think that there were people in this world who did other things that had the same happy effect. Am I making
Oh, it makes
sense?
total sense. So yeah, like if I'm hanging out with people that are doing the same thing that I am doing, whatever it be, then it makes that behavior acceptable, right?
Mhm.
So if I continue to not, if I continue to hang out with those people, but I am not participating in that same behavior anymore, it's extremely painful. It's not fun. Those people look at me different. I look at them differently. And eventually, I'm going to start doing it again. So literally have to remove myself from all those situations and not put myself in that place anymore where it's even looks, fun, it looks tempting, it looks good. I have to remove myself and put myself in a room full of people, wherever it is, wherever you find these people, of like minded people that are trying to achieve the same goal and do the same thing as me.
Mhm. Yeah, like because I haven't, drank alcohol in like a long time now, and I live an awesome life. I'm super happy, and like I guess that was the point I was trying to make because I kind of sounded like a little bit of an idiot trying to get that point across. But like I didn't think there was any other way to be happy except going out and having fun and drinking with my friends. Like, that's what I thought it meant to be happy. And that's wrong. Like, I learned that because I ran that form of quote unquote happiness into the ground and almost killed myself. So I learned it early. But there are so many people in the world today who find true happiness in life without the use of drugs. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense, Ashley. Listen, if you remove the things that are making your life miserable, we have to replace them with good things. You know, using drugs made my life miserable. It started out as fun.
Yeah.
I will be very honest. It started out as a lot of fun.
Yeah,
or I
that's what
wouldn't have kept doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, it wasn't fun anymore. And when I did those things, it took me to a place that was dark and ugly and dirty and gross.
Yeah.
So, removing them is the first step. Like those are blocking my light, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to remove them.
You're right, but like it doesn't stop there because, you could just stop the behavior or stop drinking or, I guess I just use that example a lot because I understand it, but stop acting out, like stop gambling, stop whatever it is that you kind of struggle with. Just because you stop the behavior doesn't mean you're going to suddenly be happy because all of those character traits that you had in acting out in those in that self-destructive behavior, all those character traits don't immediately evaporate when we stop the behavior. Those were internal, which is actually why we kept acting out on the behavior. The behavior was just like the automatic response to my internal character traits. Yeah, so when I stop, acting out on the behavior, I then have to turn internally. That's where I change. That's where I change my perspective and change my life.
Right. So, like, in order to change my perspective, I had to look at things completely differently and realize that, like, the things that I think are fun are not fun. And that people that, are living this, what I think, seemingly boring life are actually really happy and peaceful and serene and calm and have everything I ever wanted that I was looking for in a bag or a bottle.
Yeah, like I'll just ask our audience, are you happy? Like are you happy? I mean, because we're made for it. Like we're made to be happy. Like every single person on the planet, even ask Aristotle, right? The early philosopher, like we all search for it. Like in psychology, most people, say that they do certain things for the sake of happiness. Most people do about everything for the sake of happiness. Even like the negative self-destructive behaviors I was doing for what I thought was happiness.
A chemically induced happiness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's make that very clear. That, if you're doing these things, it's releasing a certain chemical in your brain that literally is making you feel happy.
Yeah, I guess that's why it was so contradictory because it was like I thought I was happy, but I wasn't.
Well, let's talk about the science of it for a second.
Cool.
So, let's say you go out and you're having drinks and you're drinking alcohol. So you are literally you get a buzz, right? And you feel good and it's fun. But let's think about the science in that. So, like, what you are actually doing is you are polluting your system to a point where it can't function properly. You are poisoning yourself. Your body cannot function properly. You can't see straight. You can't speak straight. You can't do anything right because your body is literally poisoned.
Yeah, that's weird.
And that's fun. We think that is fun, But that's literally what you're doing to
Well,
yourself.
that's why I wasn't happy because like I was just poisoning myself, and poisoning is produces ill effect.
That is absolutely correct. And then what happens the next day? So we're doing these things thinking that we're inducing a state of euphoria and happiness and fun, but the next day we are left feeling hungover, and it's a depressant. So we are left feeling depressed and sad, hungover, you have a headache, you're dehydrated, you're doing all these terrible things to your body to the point where it doesn't function properly anymore. And let's go out and do it again the next night because it was so much fun.
Yeah, there was like so many contradictory aspects of my life when I was in DC because like I would go to the gym like during my lunch hour, but then like I would hit the bars, you know, in DC like right after work for happy hour, and and um and then like be out all night poisoning myself, like you said, you know, like thinking I was having fun, but then also go to work. So it was like I was doing working out, I was poisoning myself, and then I was working. And like I was totally miserable. But I thought I was happy the whole time. And I'll be honest, like that is the majority of people's lives, especially in the cities.
Yeah, that's what you do. You interact with other people and you drink, you do what you do, whatever you're doing, and that is fun, and that's how you interact with people on a social level. That is what is acceptable in our society.
Mhm.
And we are conditioned to think that it is fun and that it is okay. And for some people, it is okay. Some people can go have a drink or two and leave, and
Mhm.
that's it. And then there's some people like me, I'm those people
Mhm.
where um, that's not enough and I want more.
Mhm.
And I'm not leaving when the bar is closing. They're kicking me out. And then I want to know what we're doing after that and
Mhm.
where we're going and what's going to happen next. I need more. I want more. You know, I like to call it the disease of more.
That's good. I like it a lot. Yeah, like my one good friend from that area, you know, like she would have like a glass, some kind of alcoholic beverage at dinner, and like she would have maybe a quarter of it, and then she'd start to feel the effects and stop because she didn't like the effects.
You mean she would leave it there?
Well,
Not
she
drink
would,
it
yeah,
all?
she would just stop because she would, you know, start to get a buzz, and she didn't like getting a buzz. And so, like, you know, it's so funny, but we we chase that high, right? That buzz. So even like two can become 4 glasses a night, and then we stop maybe, you know. But like doing that day after day after day, like medically, the doctors don't promote that much alcohol, you know, because Cindy's right. Like scientifically, it's not good for our bodies, like especially in quantities of 2 to 4 a day, you know. So um, obviously, we would have more.
A lot more.
Because we're, what did you say is the what of more?
The disease of
The
more.
disease of more.
If a little's good, a lot is going to be great.
Better.
No, that's not better. It's great.
Great. That is so funny to me. Yeah, but like I feel like we started talking about this topic because like we were talking about how even though we put down whatever is our, you know, drug of choice per se, you know, like gambling, sex addiction, like rampant dating behavior, drugs, drinking, you know, whatever, you name it. We put that down, but like then we're still not happy. And I got to tell you, like, I know a lot of people who have put it down 20, 30 years later, they're still not happy.
They are miserable.
I know. It's so sad.
It's really sad, and life is entirely too short to be miserable. Like, I want to be happy. And so, like, I had to take a deep, hard look at myself, and I like this word surrender. Surrender to the fact that, like, there are certain things that I'm going to have to do on a daily basis in order to be happy and not feel as though I need to go back to what brought me to my knees
Mm-hmm.
because life is so unbearable, you know? And that's the thing, like there are certain things we can do on a daily basis that will help us become happy, joyous, and free.
Hmm. Yeah, because like today, I find inner freedom. I have it, and everything's pretty chill. Like most of the time, I'm like, "Hey, Cindy, like what month is it?"
Literally today, she's like, is it July?
You're like, "What month is it right now?" Because like when you're able to kind of step into that true euphoria of life, which is what we experience on a daily basis. Like we are outside space and time here. Like we are living in what is like the substantive being of existence, um, that's pervasive and eternal. Like, and that's like really deep for just some girl talking in a podcast about life for dummies. But it's true. What I experience is like so real, deep, pervasive, eternal, and um, it just like emulates through my existence. I'm so happy. And like happiness is not this like high. It's just this like ground level of being, um and as soon as something in life today tries to steal my happiness, I know, if somebody like enters my life and they've got some chaos going on, I can see it like huge blot of black ink on a white piece of paper, and all I can do is focus on it and think of, like, how can I remove this chaos from my life? I've worked so hard to have such a serene life today. So yeah, like I just really focus on staying in the moment and enjoying a peaceful life. And like that's the opposite of what I had when I first, got here. Like to change my got to this place where I wanted to change my perspective so I could change my life. Like I felt like I had to control everything. I knew every single day, hour, minute, month, next year, what was going on this same month next year. Like I had everything plotted out, planned out, and I just was like obsessive and a control freak. And that brought a lot of misery too, because like what this new way of life has shown me is that I need to let go. And if I let go, I find peace and happiness, which really is joy.
Yeah, it's very interesting that by letting go, you literally, like I know I did, I literally got everything back by just letting go. And looking for this life where, like you said, like I planned everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was a planner, and everything was planned down to the T, and I lived by a calendar, and this was that and that was that. And now it's like, hey, what are we gonna do today? Hey, oh, you want to float around in the pool all day and do nothing? That is great. That sounds like a great idea. Like, who is this person and where did she come from? I am so grateful for her, because I tell you what, like, not living like that anymore has literally relieved so much anxiety and so much stress and so much pressure and like anxiety, internal anxiety. Like, I was on edge all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and it was terrible. And I don't have to live like that anymore. I was on all kinds of psych meds and like trying to manage my emotions with pills, and trying to, I feel like our society, we want to fix everything with a pill. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no one really wants to do some hard looks and really do some internal work and like work on yourself. You just would like to go to a doctor and say, take one of these every day and you'll feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking for that. I wanted something to fix the way I was feeling, and I wanted someone to give it to me. I
Yeah.
didn't want to do any work on myself and take a look at myself and see why I felt the way I did and actually heal.
Yeah, because like a lot of the times I was causing my own problem, because like all of this incessant control behavior and thoughts, um, like the mind running all the time, and all of that was creating fantasies, like things that were not real. and then I'd worry about them and try to make them not happen in my life. I'd think about, okay, well, how can I get this at work to not happen when it wasn't even happening? It's like, why was I trying to get something to not happen when it's totally made up in my head? Like,
So you were time traveling.
and manipulating the out of everything, yeah. So how do we, like, what do we do when we stop the behavior? Like, what are some things we can do? We can listen to those who have what we want, which is why we encourage you to subscribe to this podcast and listen if you want what we have. What else can we do?
Well, we can sometimes, we need to seek help from a therapist or, a trained professional in certain, whatever we're acting out on. Sometimes we need professional help and we need to seek out the right person to help us. And like, just because you talk to one person and you don't like what they have to say, keep trying. Call the next person on the list, because not everybody is for everybody. And there are certain people that have certain experiences and you'll identify with certain people, but don't give up. Don't give up before the miracle happens.
Yeah, and also believe in yourself. Because like, be true to who you are. There's really something to say about following your heart. Because the heart knows. Like, I knew what I was doing wasn't good for me. I knew I was dying and killing myself, and my heart was sad. My heart was actually sad because it knew that I had the capacity within me to help so many people. Just make sure that you follow your heart and believe in yourself. And a lot of the times, that's the last thing on the list. A lot of the times, people stuck in active, behavior, addiction, or obsessive and compulsive behaviors that are self-destructive, the last thing that they believe is in themselves.
Yeah, low self-esteem, no self-worth is a constant theme, I think, in people who suffer from any type of addiction. You don't feel good about yourself. You don't value yourself. And, I know for me, I looked for others to validate me. And when that didn't happen, it left me feeling even worse, and then I would continue doing what I was doing even more so. So learning to love yourself and believe in yourself and believe that you are worth this good life today and that you deserve to be happy, that's huge. That was a huge moment for me. That was a turning point and a game changer.
Yeah. And then I was just thinking about something else here, about change, and like when I put down the drug or the behavior, I can believe in myself. Oh, but then I also need to realize that I can't really listen to myself. You know what I mean? Like, and it seems contradictory. Heck, man, life is pretty contradictory, right? The principles, like, you got to surrender to win. But, like, I couldn't trust myself. I couldn't trust my thinking. And I guess that's the difference. I couldn't trust my thinking because my thinking had gotten me to where I was. So when I put it down, I need to stop listening to myself just for 1 second. Like, I do not have all the answers, obviously. So and I'm not talking about let's go to prayer here and then allow our higher power to tell us through our own thinking. Okay? I'm talking about go to another human being that in real life that has what you want and ask them to help you think into this new reality.
Yeah, like my own thinking got me into my biggest problems.
Right.
Yeah. So once I stopped doing these things, I was always taught your first thought is wrong. First thought wrong, dummy. Okay. And that was true for me for a very long time.
Very long time.
Very very long time.
Years.
Years and years. And I literally had to, call other people and say, what do I do?
Right. Me too.
Yeah. And call 3 to 5 people and ask them. But you have to call people that have what you want.
Exactly.
You can't call people that are doing the things that you used to be doing, because they're going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah. And it's just going to produce the same bad results that you were getting before.
Which, if that's what you want, that's great. But that's not what I wanted anymore. It was not acceptable to me anymore. So once you start behaving in this new way, and you start thinking in this new way, and you change your perception, things that were once acceptable to you then become unacceptable.
Yeah. And I don't want us to come across like, tough or harsh or anything, because that's not it either. Like, every single one of you is special, and every single one of you deserves a better way of life. If you're stuck in the plague, the disease, the strains, the chains of addiction, or some kind of behavior where you're acting out and you can't stop, and it's bringing all of these really bad things into your life or into your mind or into your body, like you deserve so much better than that. And if we start to get super intense in this podcast, it's because we care about you that much. It's because this is how hard we're fighting for your life and for your happiness.
Yeah. It's not, like you said, it's not being harsh, and it's not being mean, and it's not being brutally honest, because I know I was being brutalized a lot out there when I was behaving in those certain ways. It comes from a place of love and knowing that you are worth it and you deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
And things can get better, and they do get better. But here's the thing, right? Time takes time.
Yeah.
And you can't rush it. And it's not going to happen on your time. It's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. But as long as I am putting a plan into action, and I am doing the next right thing, whatever that is, and like we said, if I don't know what it is, I'm going to call somebody who does know,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to tell me what the next right thing is. If I do the next right thing, then most likely the next right thing is going to happen for me. And that has been my experience thus far. That if I am doing the next right thing, whatever that is, then the next right thing happens for me.
Right. Like what Cindy and I end up doing now, all these years later, is we we do the things that have produced the results that we want. And I mean, it's not like there's some kind of like academic principle from like thousands and thousands of years ago, that's like, and this is surefire, this is just our experience. And granted, like the the literature that we read and the principles that we practice, they are etched into history from people who have learned this way of life. Yes, but what I'm saying is that like we are acting out on what we have learned through our own experience and what works. And so we just keep doing it, trusting that since it's worked up to now, it's going to keep working. And it does, you know.
It does every time, not just some of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
If I am doing these things consistently, and that's a word that I really like, consistently. If I am on a consistent basis making a conscious effort to continue to live this good life, then it's going to keep happening for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally just keeps getting better.
Better and better. It's like there's some kind of universal principle like behind this way of life that like just makes everything better if we just keep living in this reality.
And I really love my reality today.
Yeah, I do too.
And I couldn't have always said that. Like, once upon a time, I wanted to change my reality all the time, every day, every moment, every second.
Yeah, I couldn't even be home for like 15 minutes at a time. I would like just go crazy with my own thoughts.
And now I just don't ever want to leave the house.
Yeah.
Like, who gets to do that?
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's an amazing, amazing life that that we have both been able to create for ourselves.
Mhm.
And that's why you need to subscribe, because like
Mhm.
we are literally going to give you an in-depth look at what we do and how we do it in order to get the life you've always wanted.
Yeah, like the stuff that we've struggled with is pretty serious human stuff, and it's a plethora. It's not like just one area. Um, and so, if you don't have anyone to talk to, then talk to us. There's comment sections in these videos. Like, write us a comment. You know, um, when you find the two things, if you click on that link to download the two things that we offer, enter your email address. You'll be able to have contact with us. We are here to help you get to where you want to be, which is a new way of life and happiness all
All the time.
the time.